You're like, your cousin is right.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Infinite Podcast. How you going, guys? Let's get straight into it this week. We'll jump into the intros, not messing around, because this is a bit of a special episode. We weren't going to go live because of July 4th, but obviously some shiz went down. But Umbra, how's your week been? What have you been up to? How's things?
Oh man, it's been an interesting week. I didn't have my show this week, unfortunately. I just was too tired, man, and I had plans for it. Obviously, you were going to jump in, as you know, but Danny couldn't make it himself. He had obligations with the family, so it was just like, it's not worth it this week. But we will come back strong next week with the return. It's been 2 weeks off for us because of other things that going on in life, but. Other than that, man, life has been good. I hate the summer, so I am not a summer person. People are like, oh man, we get to go out and do this. And I'm like, ugh. I have no interest in that whatsoever. What'd you do for the 4th? Stayed my black ass under the AC. That's what I did. You know, I'm not trying to go out there and get baked. It's 90 something degrees in Chicago right now. 90, I think 90 right now. It feels like 92 or 94. I'm just not a fan of it. But obviously, we've had this horrible news happening recently, which we'll all be diving into. And I know some good people who were affected by it, which put me in a down mood. I'll say, honestly, I don't want to make myself sound like some type of like, oh, it's about me. But I think that right there actually took a lot of my energy out too Thursday. That's why I think that was part of why I was like kind of like, you know what I mean? Like blase, didn't really feel up to it. I felt down. You know what I mean? That's the best way I can put it. So, but I do want to dive into this. And for those listening and that might not be on the same page as us, you're going to hear a lot of negativity coming Microsoft's way. You know what I mean? And I don't, this to me is more nuanced, obviously, than just saying, oh, Microsoft, Xbox bad. But we're definitely going to have to point out some issues here with Microsoft as a company itself.
Sure.
That has affected Xbox and the good people that all around Microsoft that have been affected. So, but yeah, happy to be here. Obviously, Biff, thanks for joining us, brother. And everyone, thank you all in the chat for coming by and kicking it with us a little bit. What's up, Web Dave? Maybe
I will say,
jump in, Web Dave. You free? Jump in with us.
yeah. If you're free, jump in, have a chat. I will say apologies for the startup issues. AI is running the show. It's not really running the show, but yeah.
I, for one, welcome our AI overlords.
Biff, yeah, definitely. You want to get off on a good foot, right? Exactly. Biff, welcome back to the show, man. How's your week been? What have you been up to? How's things?
My week has been pretty crazy. My company that I work for just went through a buyout, and everything's up in the air. A lot of people didn't stick around to see what was going to happen, so we've been severely understaffed at my job. I'm doing 10 or 12-hour days. My commute's like an hour and a half, so I haven't even been gaming much. I don't think I've turned my Xbox on in like 4 or 5 days. But
sacrilege!
Yeah, I know. But I've been watching all the news.
Card right now.
Well, actually, I think my Xbox is on in that room. I just turned it on when you messaged me to jump in. So.
Oh, the first chance he gets to be pulling away. That's it's terrible.
No.
Well, it's great to have you here, man. So it's been a bit of a week for Xbox. I'd say that a lot of you have already are pretty up on what's going on, but just if you're not, very basically, Perfect Dark and Everwild have been cancelled, and there has been widespread layoffs at Microsoft proper, which is they were letting go 9,000 people. And from Xbox, we're not sure of the number. We believe it's 4%, but it's hundreds of Xbox employees. Cuts are widespread. They've affected developers like King, who will work on Candy Crush. As you know, that was about 200 jobs from King. Forza Motorsport's apparently been cut in half, with just enough people left to support Horizon and the engine. Call of Duty franchise was hit in a very small way. Halo Studios is hit in a small way. I think it was 5 staff members were let go. The developer Zenimax from Elder Scrolls Online has also had a game cancelled. It was the Sci-Fi, apparently Sci-Fi-esque, Blade Runner-esque sort of Destiny cross Warframe looter shooter MMO. It's apparently one that Phil Spencer couldn't put the controller down. Had to have it pulled away from him by Matt Booty. It's good to see Matt Booty doing something right. So yeah, it's a little bit discouraging all around. There is some good news for the week, and there is some other news aside from the layoff stuff. But I wanted to get into that sort of negative stuff out of the way early on because there's plenty to say. But first of all, before we do get into that, I just want to say, heartfelt condolence. I don't know if condolences is the word, but our thoughts are definitely with anyone that was affected from Microsoft. I think that it gets a little bit lost in the console wars, and it gets a little bit lost in some of these podcasts that, there are real people affected. I saw a podcast or a snippet of a podcast of people saying that, it's only 4% of the workforce, and that's nothing. And to me, it's not nothing. It's people, and these are people losing their jobs, losing their livelihoods. And hopefully they all find themselves resituated and in a good position. But as well, it's a lot of talent that leaves the industry. Every time we do this, we have a bit of a brain drain where people get sick and tired of being let go. I've seen multiple cases of people let go more than once throughout this entire these last 5 years with a lot of the layoffs, and they get sick of it and they go somewhere where it's more stable, and we lose that talent and that experience from the industry. So it's just not a good thing all round. I'll jump to the panel. There's a lot of things that I've been saying, and one that's come up pretty recently. I was saying it in the Discord before all this dropped. Before the layoffs dropped, it was a mention of layoffs. We didn't know exactly what was going on or if anything was cancelled. But my question is one, how the fuck can we trust Xbox anymore? We can't trust anything they say. We can't even trust when they show us a trailer. And I know that this has been said, and it annoys me when people say things that I'm saying in the background and then they're saying it publicly, and I'm like, I should have gone straight to a live show straight away, but I didn't. But yeah, the trust thing is an issue for me. And the other thing is as I was asking before this happened, this is mismanagement. Like, who's supporting these teams? I got a lot of pushback on that in the GCP Discord. I don't know if I'd get the same pushback today if I went back in there with the same sort of modus operandi, but I will be doing that as soon as I see Kay in there. I'm going to jump in and have that conversation because it's one that I definitely want to have. We've said many times over the years, like maybe Matt Booty needs support. He's got too many studios to manage. But when you've got a studio like Everwild, like Rare, with a game like Everwild that's been in development for 10 years, has been rebooted, at what point do you pull that pin? You're just doing millions down a game that's never going to come out, or doesn't look a good chance to come out. That to me is mismanagement. You need to cut when you need to cut. I mean, these two cuts aren't surprising to me. It's the time allowed before they make the decision that's surprising to me. The Zenimax and the other stuff, the Halo stuff that we heard, we'll get into. But Umbra, I wanted to get sort of your thoughts before I start rambling on this.
Yeah, man. And it's tough, man. And some of this is definitely mismanagement, right? Like, you can't escape it. Even if we just ignoring Microsoft as a whole for now, because we're going to come back to them. But if you just go to Xbox itself, I don't understand how we can ignore that some of the issues we're going to have to point to Matt Booty and those under him for some of these. We obviously had the Redfall situation. I don't put that really on Booty so much as Pete Hines and those on that side before Microsoft properly took over. So I don't really credit that as a negative toward Xbox, aside from them seeing it and saying, hey, scrap this. But I guess at that point, the argument could be made that it was so far gone, there was no need of canceling. May as well just put it out. It is what it is. So I get that argument too. I do not fault them for that. But then when you look at other things like Everwild, as you just mentioned, that's 10 years. That's 10 years down the drain right there for Everwild. Like, that was, I mean, they started development on it, like I said, for in 14. And they had changes. People dropped out. They put new creatives behind it. So for that to go for 10 years and then for it to suddenly oh, it's canceled. Like we kind of all had doubts. Obviously, we knew it was in development hell. All of us knew that for Everwild. But the problem I have with it is, and it's not so much as like man, we were really waiting for Everwild. That was going to be the big thing. It's not even that. It's just that it feels more like I think Xbox slipping back into bad habits of mismanagement that kind of alarms us, right? So you see that, and then you see the situation with Perfect Dark. Now, I've voiced it a few times here in other shows where I was like, Perfect Dark looked good, but it looked like something that was extra about it. Like it wasn't quite all real gameplay, or it looked a little funny. And then we started hearing reports. Now, the guy did come out speaking on it, and one of the creators behind it, and saying that it is gameplay. However, there are some embellishments that weren't actual gameplay put into it, right? So that made sense. Sometimes you can kind of tell. If you look at a game like Eel, for instance, you all remember seeing Eel at the recent game shows. That was clearly not fully gameplay, right? And you can tell if you look at it carefully enough. And I had that feeling for Perfect Dark, but this is the thing: they had so much talent on Perfect Dark. You would think that they would come together and get that out. And it's a shame that now we won't ever get it, or at least not with the team initiative that was doing it. Moving back to Rare, to have Rare, and I feel like, and I've said this before, that kind of only gives us Sea of Thieves. And I get the Sea of Thieves was doing well for them for a while. I mean, we can't deny it. You saw how it was doing on Steam. We saw how it performed on PlayStation. It's very clear it made money for them. But to have such a story team uh, stick to just that one thing for all these years and not put out new IP, or not put out, even games we've been begging for, like the Banjos and such and the Conkers. It's like, what are you all doing? And it doesn't all. I think part of the problem is like, oh, we got to have AAA, and the problem now where Microsoft is moving is that's going to be the thing. They're going to need all big major heavies that's going to move numbers and such. That's part of the problem. They're going towards that PlayStation problem, where it's less diversity and it's going to be a focus more on what heavies can you put out that's going to bring us a big return. The Call of Duties, you know what I mean, the live service. That's what I kind of see them going, unfortunately. And we're going to get less passion projects. We're going to get less of the groundeds. We're going to get less of the pentiments. We're going to get less of these smaller games. And I think that's the way they should be going, is smaller games. And instead of kind of getting out with more of these heavy big games that have cost them so much time. Getting back though, I can't help but feel a way of mismanagement, because I don't know how you allow Everwild to have 10 years of development hell. I don't know how you let Perfect Dark have 8 years, 7, 8 years of development issues and not come through with supreme talent on it, including Crystal Dynamics, who have put out some of the greater games with Tomb Raider. Like, we can't act like they're not talented, right? So it just feels like wasted potential all around when it comes to it. And I think that's the bigger point. That's the bigger issue. And then you start looking at the other people, that's the other things that are affected, right? We see, for instance, we see other layoffs and things like that. We don't get it to 50% of Turn 10 laid off. Shout out to some the person, I'm not going to say their name, but we had heard this obviously about, not obviously because you all wouldn't know. I had heard this some time back that Turn 10 would be affected. I don't like to get into that whole insider shit, so I've never said anything about it. I'm not even going to go into too deep, but because it's more hassle than it's worth. But I had heard this before, and then we see it come to fruition. And absolutely 50% have been affected. Now, the bigger issue and worry is Turn 10 now gone, because you're starting to see those reports from people that work there and have connections there saying that they're likely going to shutter Turn 10 as we knew it. Like, people say, well, Turn 10 is still there. Yeah, in spirit, right? Like, the building is still technically there, the area they had, but they've closed off so much. You got 50% laid off there. Now what happens to the remaining?
They can't really shutter it in totality in full, because they're running that engine. So, but it seems like they're just going to be a support studio for Horizon.
That's the bigger problem, right? And that's the thing I hate, because we talked about this before, where we didn't like the idea of a lot of these support studios under Activision just being Call of Duty workhorses, right? And that now we're seeing this is going to be something that happens here. And Turn 10 is way too talented to be pushed into that. It's so sad to me, and I get that, they created such a great engine with, how am I forgetting the name of it? With the help me out here. The Forza Tech, thank you, because my mind is just blank. The Forza Tech engine that Playground obviously took advantage of for Horizon, and now they're probably going to be left to relegate it to improving that engine, being like engine workers, like fixing that up for the next iteration, and working as whatever for Playground, be it on this or whatever games that Playground might create. And the bad part about this is we could, outside of maybe looking at the financials, we could kind of see the writing on the wall of the popularity of motorsport compared to Horizon, right? It was pretty clear Horizon had taken over. It was pretty obvious. But damn, man, it feels so bad to know, like, it feels bad. And it's something that's not even in there, that's not even necessarily their fault. You know what I mean? Like, they turned in great games. The last one obviously wasn't as great as past entries. But I mean, imagine that being your one misstep in all these years when you turned in 90 metas and such, and like, oh well, 50% of you gone now. It's like it's kind of jacked up.
That's the problem. We can't like, you cannot sustainably run a fucking business where you make one single mistake and that's it, you're done. They've been consistent the entire way through, and maybe they haven't made money, but when you've got a stalwart tentpole fucking studio that makes quality after quality after quality, and they make one little misstep, which still I think hit it in the 80s, and they're like, oh no, that's it, we're done. We're stripping out half the studio. There's the door. Like, what kind of a message does that send to your developers? Like, everyone would be shitting in their pants. Like, there's going to be a lot of swearing on this one. Everyone would be shitting in their pants that they're going to be next. It doesn't matter what. And if you can't work and do quality work to save your job, if nothing you can do can save your job, what's the incentive? Like, what's the incentive? Mm-hmm. Like, you're just sending a message to all of your workers that you couldn't give two shits about them. And at the end of the day, they're a number on a spreadsheet.
Number on the sheets. That's it. And you're right. It had an 84 meta. I had to look to be sure. I know it was in the 80s, but it was an 84. That's a great game, literally. Like, people will shit on it, be like, oh, it was bad. No, it wasn't bad. It just had some faults, right? But yeah, imagine slipping like that, and it's like, well, you're kind of at the end of the totem pole here, and that's the bottom rung of it. It just feels bad, man. And I get it. People are gonna be like, well, the end of the business. I get it, but it feels like, at this point, it feels like extreme capitalism at times. Like, where, oh, the shareholders want more money. That's all it feels like to me. When it's like, because we know that they're clearing all these people out, unfortunately, for the situation with the co-pilot situation that went wrong with not co-pilot, I'm sorry, the OpenAI. So that they're moving, they had an issue with them. Now they're deviating and getting letting these people go, so they have more overhead so they can develop their AI. And however they're going to use that, I don't know. Maybe they're going to use it to take off. I don't know what they're going to do with that. But AI has increasingly, and I used to be one of the people that were like, oh, AI is cool, right? Like, it's still kind of fascinating when you can see what AI can do. But damn, man, at what cost, right? And the cost is humans, right? That's ultimately what it is. It sounds crazy to say, somewhat, but that's ultimately what it has come to be. And I wouldn't be cheerleading it on, or had cheerleaded it on before in the past, on how cool it was, knowing it's going to affect actual, jobs and things like that. But that's what it's coming down to, and I'm afraid we're going to see much more of that going on in the future. That's the terrible part to me. And they try to ease it in. Oh, AI is to help the developers. Yeah, help ease them out of their job. That's what it is. And it just feels bad, man. It feels bad in it. And we know that if they can get AI, much like you get automatons and factories, if they can do that to cut us out as far as labor, they will do that. That's more money for them. You know what I mean? That's why I say the extreme capitalism can be a problem too. Capitalism is the only system we've had that work. We know that. But if you get to the extreme points of anything, and I'm pretty sure we can all agree, anything in an extreme can be bad. And I think that's what we're witnessing here, at least headed toward. and I just feel distasteful. And again, about a bit, and I say this and also too because I know people, like I said, who were affected, and I just feel like shit for them, man. I really do. And these are people who lived and breathed, Xbox, and were down 100%. Not to shield for them, but just believed in what they did. You know what I mean? And believed what the work they put in toward the company.
Believe what they said.
Yeah, exactly. And then to have them kind of just slap you in the face and get rid of you like that, it can't feel good.
Yeah. Yeah. I gotta jump to Biff, but before I do, I just want to read out. It's because this is the other thing. Like, I have never heard a more tone deaf, corpo speak, gobbledygook, full of shit fucking memo that he put out, that Phil Spencer put out for these things. I'll read it out, and you guys have probably heard it, but like just when you soak it in, you're like, what the fuck? This is not to the workers. You should be writing a memo to the workers. This memo's to the fucking shareholders. Anyway, today we are sharing decisions that will impact colleagues across our organization to position gaming for enduring success and allow us to focus on strategic growth areas. We will end or decrease work in certain areas of business and follow Microsoft's lead in removing layers of management to increase agility and effectiveness. End quote. That's what they said about the initiative. They said they wanted an agile. That wasn't agile enough for you? Like, fuck me. Anyway, back to the quote. Out of respect for those impacted today, the specifics of today's notifications and any organizational shifts will be shared by your team leaders in the coming days, which didn't happen because they were just canceling people's fucking Slack accounts without telling them that they were being laid off. Back to the quote. I recognize these changes come at a time when we have more players, games, and gaming hours than ever before. Subtle brag. Our platform, hardware, and game roadmap have never looked stronger. The success we're seeing currently is based on tough decisions we've made previously. We must make choices now for continued success in the future. And a key part of that strategy is discipline to prioritize the strongest opportunities. We will protect what is thriving and concentrate effort on areas with the greatest potential while delivering on the expectations the company has for our business. This focused approach means we can deliver exceptional games and experiences for players for generations to come. He continues, prioritizing opportunities is essential, but that does not lessen the significance of this moment. Simply put, we would not be where we are today without the time, energy, and creativity of those whose roles are impacted, but you're all out the fucking door anyway. These decisions are not a reflection of the talent, creativity, and dedication of the people involved. Our momentum is not accidental. It is a result of years of dedicated effort of our teams. But pack up your shit. HR is working directly with impacted employees to provide severance plans, benefits aligned with local laws, including pay, healthcare coverage, and job placement resources to support their transition. Employees whose roles were eliminated are encouraged to explore open positions in contracting across Microsoft's game. You didn't say contracting. Across Microsoft's gaming, where their applications will be given a priority review. Because if we get you in as a contractor, we can kick you out the door anytime we like. So, yeah. Biff, I'm gonna jump to you because I've got plenty to say, but I don't want to ramble. I will ramble, but I don't want to. So, Biff, how you feeling about this whole thing?
Well, yeah. I mean, personally, I got laid off last year. I mean, I talked to you guys about that, and that was tough. You know, my place wasn't even that big, and they reduced their workforce by like 60%, and all of the highest paid people went first. And you know, it hits you because you're working and you think you're doing a good job and everything's going great, and then next thing you know, they turn off your email or your Slack, or I don't know. I mean, they could have done other stuff. I always hate when they let people go instead of reassigning them. You know, Everwild, uh, Everwild should have gotten canceled a couple years ago when they went back to the drawing board. But you know, I think they got so much time to play with it because they were rare. Hey, what's up, Colt? And
Hey.
and as far as Perfect Dark goes, I was really looking forward to that. That sucks for me because I loved the original on the 64 back in the day, and I just feel for everyone that's affected by this. 9,000 people. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, look, it's a big number, 9,000. Oh, have we?
Uh-oh.
Oh yeah, I could hear you.
I can't hear him at all, actually.
No. Hey, what's up, Umbra?
Jeez. It tried to get. What's up, Biff and Riskit? It had me log into the thing and it kicked me out of the. But I'm here. Anyway, don't let me interrupt you. I can't hear Riskit for some reason. Hold on. Say something, Biff. Let me make sure it's not my settings.
Yeah, no, I could hear you both.
Oh, okay. I will check.
Well, I could hear Riskit a minute ago. I don't know if he's still talking. No, I could see his circle going, but I can't hear him anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's up, Colt?
But there he is. There he is. I was going to say it's our show now. Yes.
That's it.
So, oh, okay. What the whole? I don't know. Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you can't have a studio that is.
Oh. All right. Colt's gone now. Hey, Umbra's back. All right.
Hey, Risk, send him a unique invite because I think I sent him one too, and I think it's like, hey, this is your invite technically, and it's kicking me out if he jumps in and vice versa.
Yeah, we were on layoffs. Really? I can hear you. It's live. That's live production. Umbra's gone. Colt's here.
Oh, that's what it's doing. Like it's making me okay. I will. Holy smokes. Okay. I'll be right back.
The beauty of live production. Can only hear Biff. Oh, wow. All right. Well, I don't really know what to talk about other than the layoffs. What else is going on this week? Maybe Colt can help.
Yeah, there was a yes. I just texted you.
Oh, I think we have Colt and Umbra now. Nice.
Thank you. Is my regular mic working? I didn't even double check.
I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, you sound crisp and clear.
Good.
So
Good.
I don't know when it cut me off because
That was a lot of pressure. I didn't want to be the only one they could
I was
hear.
just gonna. I was talking about Perfect Dark and stuff. I'll get to the point. I'm upset for the first time more at Xbox than I have been in a while. But Xbox and Microsoft are both have their own issues, and it's really come to a head. It's clear that Satya and his team care more about their enterprise than Xbox. I mean, why shouldn't they? I mean, it's not even it's a very small minority of their business venture. But you're right. When you were talking about Everwild, the teams have they've been letting them run for way too long with nothing to show for it. It's kind of a normal in the industry right now. Your games no longer take 2 years; it takes 6. But Xbox has 7 to 10 year projects that are just going on and on and on, and those people continue to get paid while they just cannot deliver a game under that scope, and it's become so frustrating to look at Showcase and you don't see updates on certain games. So the biggest problem is they have laid off like probably 4,000 people in the Xbox gaming division and across studios, and they've canceled multiple projects. And as a guy who is, I've created a channel talking about what to be excited about when it comes to the Xbox platform, and they've disappointed us so many times. I am literally watching the entirety of the internet say, we are done. No more. Why should Xbox get any love from this point forward? And Xbox is about to put out another dozen games. They just put out a dozen this year, and they're going to put out another 8 or 10 games next year. But right now, there's nothing out to play, and it just makes all of it even worse.
And that's the thing, Colt. I feel like this is more. I think Microsoft, at least Xbox, has had their issues as far as mismanagement. You look at you look at Everwild, you look at Perfect Dark, especially Perfect Dark, to have spent so much money on that. Wish they had to do to bring Crystal Dynamics over, the supposed quadruple A, even though we know that was a misprint of the studio to get that out. And for 8 years or whatever, so for that, 10 years for Everwild and nothing to show for it. That's crazy work. And then you have the situation with Zenimax Studios, when they said that was actually very far along and working well. And of course, they said Phil Spencer liked it, which now has become an omen, it seems, to the show, to these games, unfortunately.
Yeah, feel like Perfect Dark as well.
Yeah. And he went there to play that, and it's like, so now he's become like a Grim Reaper figure. And it's unfortunate because I think we can all recognize, even those who are feeling jaded by them, that Phil is well-meaning and that he does love this, right? But then you got the monster overhead, Microsoft, and that's the bigger problem. Because now, and I've said this before, that I think Microsoft has forced moves on to Phil and team that they were not trying to do, such as the whole games going everywhere thing. I don't think that was Phil. I think that was Microsoft that said, hey, that 4-game thing you were talking about, that's not going to work for us. We're going to need you to put everything over there, right? And Phil and team have to figure out how to break that news to everybody. And the more they started doing things we didn't like, the less they started speaking. If you notice that, like, they used to be very vocal, it started to get very silent. So I would just say I feel like this is more of a big Microsoft issue. And I was just mentioning how I think the extreme capitalism has kind of led them toward this, or at least is leading toward extreme capitalism, that may have had them make some of these moves they've made. The obvious clearing out for AI, the 80 billion for that. It just seems like, and I know like Microsoft proper doesn't care. Like, they're like, whatever. Because I don't think, let me ask you, do you think that they see Xbox as a division worth keeping? Or do you think if it came down to it, they would like get rid of it, shelve it, or sell it off to someone if it came down to it?
I had a different answer like 5 minutes ago. I would have said it's impossible for Xbox to close down. They make too much. They have too much invested, too much money, potential money to be made. I think it's kind of become, for most,
an albatross around their neck.
Yeah, I'm just going to keep it straight to Xbox. Yeah, I think maybe Satya probably sort of wishes he didn't have the burden of Xbox to deal with. and he approved the $70 billion or the $80 billion for acquisitions over the past 4 years. But I would assume that Satya is going, man, I wish I wouldn't have bought that, because now I want to buy this.
I think Satya is mismanaged as well. Like, if you look at what he's done with OpenAI, and it was a bit of a short-sighted deal contract they wrote, and now he's probably stinging from it. I mean, if there was a Seattle, I think Jez posted up a Seattle Times article about where they're sitting, and at the moment, OpenAI, it's a pretty hostile sort of relationship, and OpenAI is trying to exit out of that contract. They need a full reimbursement of the money invested before they can even, but they're getting to that point where they can do that. And Xbox is panicking that they don't have anything else, in the back pocket to pull out for AI. They've invested nothing internally. I don't know. Look, as much as people say that Microsoft's the big bad guy in the tech industry, I think looking at it from the last week, I've never felt that that's to be true more than now. Like, you've internally stagnated, you haven't innovated in your own tech space. You saw AI coming and you thought you could buy into a company and that relationship would last forever. Why didn't you buy up that company? Why didn't you invest in some of your own AI? So now they're looking to spend $80 billion in servers, and they're going to squeeze the entire company, and you pull that money out of, obviously, layoffs. Look, I don't doubt that any big corporate company, there's a lot of fat, in management and middle management that you can probably cut. I know there is at my company. Hopefully no one's listening. But I'm one of them. But like, I understand cutting out some of the middle management. And what I don't understand is, like, Zenimax Online, the makers of ESO, the guys have had a fantastic stewardship of that game. They've pulled out, I think it was, I could be wrong about this number, but it's 2 or 4 billion over its lifetime, which is not a small amount of money.
That's how much they've made with ESO.
Yeah. I think if you invest 400 million into an MMO, or even a bill, right? I would trust that studio to build a new MMO, and we heard it was a Destiny-like, Warframe-like, sort of cyberpunkish Blade Runner looter shooter. With great movement, fantastic graphics, great skill. They were working on the skill tree is where they were at. Phil Spencer couldn't put it down. That cancellation doesn't make sense. Like, we know that there's other canceled projects within Bethesda as well, and that's the other thing. Really
hurting for money.
Yeah,
really,
I mean,
Bethesda, they had to cut something that's actually that they think is going to be okay,
right? And that's
really...
and to feed it. Like, I mean, this is the thing: is Xbox now going to be Microsoft's punching bag every time it needs to pivot its direction to fix something that it's? And I'm sorry about the swearing, guys, that I said this at the start of the show, but every time it's fucked up. So now Xbox is the punching bag, and we're going to squeeze this cash cow to get some money out. And then, as a gamer who's supported the brand for 20 plus years, and I've, how many times can you forgive a promise? A trailer is a promise. Perfect Dark's a promise. How many times, Everwild even, can you forgive a promise and just look back and go, that's mismanagement? And you know it is.
I mean, we shouldn't use the word promise, but I would definitely use the word obligation. It's an obligation to provide a product that your fans are willing to pay good money for, and they can't even deliver it. It's really sad, and it's getting super frustrating for me to make videos. Like, I'll make a video before Showcase, and I've got 18 videos in there. I said, this is probably coming. They'll probably show this. They might not show this, but this is in their roadmap. And then turn around and have a couple of those canceled. And they're not alone. I mean, we could bring up everybody else besides Nintendo who have problems delivering games. But right now, it's Xbox. Xbox is kicking people and sending them home without a job right before the 4th of July. And it's absolutely disgusting. It's really frustrating.
Yeah, well, look, shout out to, as well, I want to shout out to... I think it was Spartan661 with the 5 gifted memberships. Really appreciate you. Longtime supporter of the channel. A huge Xbox fan as well. Just want to respond to Never Knew. MS laid off 9,000 people Yeah, that's correct. Reports have it around about 400 at Xbox. A little bit higher than that, actually. But yeah, let's say it's around about 400. It was 200 from King. I don't know if you include that in Xbox. So maybe, let's say 600 in total from the Xbox business. The only people crying about the Xbox cuts are content creators. No, there's someone in this chat right now who lost their job with Microsoft. So like you're literally in a chat with a guy who lost his job. So the only people not the only people who are crying about this is creators. So just have a little bit of respect and a little bit of empathy when you're putting comments in the chat, please. And
just
also
add,
I'll say this.
add to that. Also, like, why is such a cold response? Like crying. Why is it diminished to you're just crying about it as if to write off the concerns or things we're saying about this? So that people did lose their jobs. Even if you think that the content creators are overdoing it, you still have to have enough empathy inside you to feel like, damn, these people lost their jobs. Right? I don't get that response. Never knew.
And I gotta
say something. I'm gonna say something that I'm not supposed to. I heard a message from an employee that lost their job that was absolutely gut wrenching, and I won't repeat any of the long things that were written. And I thought, man, somebody might report on that as somebody who's done so much and lost their job from Xbox. So yeah, we're not just content creators who are worried about talking about the business. We all have a lot of people. They think content creators, this is all we do. That I just sit here all day and make YouTube videos. I have a full-time job. I have a family. I have kids. I have a wife and kids, and I have a full-time job, and I do content creation on like half of my time gaming. The other half of my free time is making videos when I'm not working. So when we talk about people losing their jobs, it hits home. When some of the big layoffs were happening about 2 or 3 years ago after COVID was kind of winding down, I put out a tweet expressing my gratitude to still be able to make content and have a full-time job that I could work from home and provide for my family. And some people look at that and they're like, oh, he's just, rubbing it in that people lost their jobs. This stuff's important to us. Really important. Some of the work I actually do in my regular job is very relatable to some of the people who lost their jobs. So yeah, we are content creators, but that's not an excuse.
Yeah, look, 100%. And Never Dude said he was responding to me saying that Xbox is Microsoft's punching bag. Okay, let me put it another way. So every time that Microsoft needs to make cuts, regardless of whether we heard Phil Spencer said in his statement that Xbox has never had as many players. It's never been so profitable. It's never done as well. Like it's at its best that it's ever been. And we're still seeing layoffs. We're still seeing game cancellation. Like even as a gamer, like looking at Perfect Dark, like Perfect Dark's in the countdown to this. I got to change it now, take it out because it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, I got to do mine
too. But that game looked fantastic. It looked good. As a gamer, I am disappointed that you showed me that. You canceled that. Not too worried about Everwild. I don't think, let's be honest, I don't think most of us on the panel aren't like, damn, Everwild. But like,
yeah, I was just like, hopefully it surprises and delights. Sure, of course. Yeah.
You got us excited for games, and then you canceled them. But my point is, before that they released that trailer, I think it was last year. It's almost to the day, I believe. Before they released that Perfect Dark trailer, they could have pulled the pin then. And the response, the backlash, all of that wouldn't have been as big. The other thing is, why does it always have to be during a round of layoffs when Microsoft says we need to make more money, we need to cut staff, we need to cut stuff, right? So why aren't you managing your studios as you go? So like you get 5 years down the track before we had layoffs with the initiative or Everwild, you could have been like, look, we're acquiring ABK, this is happening. You guys don't seem to be moving the ball forward, and your game isn't at where we need it to be at 5 years. You haven't hit your milestones, and it's time to shut you down. Like, not the studio, but shut the game down. Go and try something else. You know what I mean? The other thing is,
I'm sure that they're like, oh, we're almost there. I think it's going to be okay. I'm sure, right? But who knows?
But you've got to think of like time and money. So like Battlefield, apparently, this is the thing is with these, and it's not just Xbox, right? So it sounds like we're bashing the shit out of Xbox. They're just the most recent And I would say the most heinous that's sort of responsible for it. But we've seen this across the industry for years, the layoffs, the huge expectations. This is the thing that isn't congruent with Microsoft, is the expectations versus like how they manage their studios. But EA apparently reportedly is hoping for 100 million players on Battlefield. You out of your mind? Are you out of your mind?
Reportedly 400 million to make it. Reportedly
400 million, and that's just setting you up for disappointment. Like, they are going to be another Square Enix where they're like, oh, the game didn't reach expectations. Like, no shit. You were trying to get 100 million players. Like, maybe if it's the best Battlefield we've ever seen, you might hit 50 to 60, right? Because I think the max they've ever maxed out at is like 20 or 20 to 40 or something like that. I'm a huge Battlefield fan. Like, I would love to see that, but like, I'm not that toxically optimistic that I would put that onto developers to go, you got to reach 100 million. Like, imagine that hanging over your head. You've got an unachievable goal that you're not going to reach, and not every game has to be the biggest thing since sliced bread. It also doesn't have to cost a ridiculous amount of money. I mean, I've been saying this for 3 years. Like, Xbox was doing really well with the smaller. I'm leading somewhere, so I know I sound like I'm rambling. But Xbox was doing really well with these smaller games and these smaller studios. You know, with Compulsion, Avowed, you know, Grounded, these fantastic experiences that have hit. You know, Vampire Survivors, they didn't produce it, but they realized that it was a thing. They brought it to Xbox, and now it seems like they're pivoting to let's focus on our big franchises, which is the complete wrong thing to do. I mean, I got to jump to Umbra. Does it feel like to you that they're focusing on their bigger franchises at their own folly?
That's the problem, I think. And I said it earlier. I feel like the whole ABK thing kind of forced a lot of hands. And like, by the way, I want to point out, I was never like, yay, let's get ABK. I wanted Capcom, and I wanted you remember, I was always talking about Capcom and Rocksteady. That's who I kept saying. And now
I was with you.
I'm glad they didn't get Capcom. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm so grateful they did not get Capcom. Maybe Rocksteady needs some saving, because it looks like WB is going through some things over there. But sure would be ashamed if we came to bring you some freedom, Capcom, just to close you down. I'm glad they didn't touch them. But I do want to say this, even to you, Never Knew. I'm not trying to focus on you, but I've seen a lot of that. And I had one guy jump to me, I'm going off track, who was like, oh, you're only saying this because of this. Virtue sick. I'm not saying this because of anything. I'm saying it because this is how I feel. And I think a lot of times too many of us jump to this whole purity test where you have to make, you have to do this. You have to say it for this too. And I don't have to do a damn thing. I'm speaking directly to this. So even the people you're talking about that are content creators, they're typically going to focus on the things they focus on, which is content creation. Part of that would be the games. They might not look at the greater parts of other things. I get your argument, but that doesn't mean because you feel that way, everybody else has to feel that way. And that's just to anyone who has that mindset. And again, I have people who I know who were affected. I'm not going to ignore that and be like, oh, well, this happens. They restructuring. This is what happens. It should not be a thing where we just come to the point of, hey, this happens and just be fine with it, when this business is, and Microsoft itself is worth $3 trillion. I'm sorry, you're never going to get me to be like, yeah, I get it. No, I don't get it. They have more than enough money. When is enough? But getting back, yeah, I feel like the whole ABK thing is forcing a lot of hands, and the Microsoft may push that onto Xbox itself to focus on games, like I mentioned earlier, games as a service, much like Sony had been going down that terrible road. And I really hope that's not the case, but that's what it's starting to feel like. Like, they're going to have some real heavy hitters that are guaranteeing them more of a return, a big return, and we'll get less diversity because of it. That's what I'm afraid of. And it feels like this is the early onset of that to me. I hope it's not the case. I mean, we still have some things that we see some clear diversity with what they got coming out. Grounded is dropping later this month, I believe. Clearly, we have so many other titles. I don't know what's up with Contraband. And we got a lot of
Still
stuff
in the works.
Right. Well, hey.
Yeah, they were diving into it, and some developers mentioned it, so they're still working on it.
Yeah, yeah. Let's hope. I haven't heard that it was over for them by anyone, but I don't know. I feel like I'm just I feel at this point you have to be a bit doubtful for for whatever at this point. Although to be fair, I will again say 10 years for Everwild. Yeah, you were asking for that at that point, right? But that's a point of mismanagement on Microsoft's side or whatever, that they should have been like, there's no way in the world that game should have taken 10 years. And now you have obviously with Perfect Dark, that was 8 or so years. Yeah, something's wrong. Like, what are you all doing behind the scenes that you're not on them to get this out? I don't understand it. And it got quality team.
We all knew.
Yeah,
we all knew. The whole industry knew that the initiative was having dramas. It's not like an industry secret. So if we knew the outside dramas, Xbox should have known the internal dramas. So what were they doing? Like, who's shepherding these studios? The argument came back to me that these guys are not creative, they're businessmen. And I'm like, they don't need to be creatives. What they need to do is they need to set milestones and come back when those milestones aren't achieved, and then ask the question, why isn't this milestone being achieved? And at that point, you can make an assessment and you can go, look, all right, so this is why, I feel like that's a good reason or it's a bad reason. Okay, you need more resources to do this. This is how many more resources we're going to give you. You don't achieve these milestones and you're done. Like, that's what a leader does. It's a steady but a firm hand.
Like maybe yell a couple times or slam a hand on a desk. maybe a little classic like 80s or 90s boss, maybe
like
just a little
off
bit.
the desk. Damn it!
Yeah, slap a coffee cup off the desk.
Bilowitz, kick some butt.
The hands-off approach isn't working anymore.
Yeah,
but I mean, like,
I'm with you on that, Biff.
Yeah,
a good leader, like, understands their what's beneath them, not just the people, but what's beneath them, and especially directly beneath them. So if Matt Booty's talking to the studio heads, he should be understanding each and every one and what their personalities are and what they what they need. He should be spending a lot of time with them. I do this with my guys, and I understand, like, this guy, he needs help, so he gets a little bit more of my time. This guy, he needs more hands off, and he gets less of my time, but he doesn't need any more of my time. This guy's lazy, and he needs me to be on his ass all the time, so I'm on his ass. Like, that's what you do as a leader, is you don't treat everyone the same, because you can't, because not everyone is the same. And that's what they should be doing with their studios. Like, some studios need a little bit more help, give them the help. Some studios don't need that help.
I think they're spread too thin.
I think
because
Matt
Craig
Booty's
Duncan's over
too thin.
Xbox Studios, and Matt Booty is over all of the studios that include ABK and Bethesda. But, like, is 2 people enough to manage 30 studios?
It's more than that, though, right?
Yeah.
Like, when you think about it, like with the ABK support studios, it probably could be more. But no, he should have a team. He should have a team looking after the studios, like, with the oversight. But the problem is they're cutting middle management, so the likelihood that they add more management to manage those studios, you know what I mean? It's pretty rare you want to call for more.
They're going to use AI for middle management.
Yeah.
Does not compute.
Yeah,
You did not meet your quota. Stand by for termination. Exactly.
You missed your milestone.
Sounds so cool. I love that.
I've been saying it for years. Hire me. I'll go to all these studios.
Right.
I'll put a foot in an ass. I ain't afraid to.
But I mean, like, it does sound like we're beating up on Xbox quite a bit. They definitely deserve all the smoke.
And we are joking. We are half joking as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, they've had a pretty stellar year for games. Like, and I know everyone in the chat, some guys in the chat have been saying this. Like, it's with out of context. It's not out of context. If there's any creators in the community that are rooting for Xbox to do well, and are noticing when Xbox does something right, and notice that there's a humongous media reaction when this happens for Xbox, and the media reaction for when PlayStation canceled apparently 12 games was infinitely smaller. We notice all that stuff, but we also have to tell them, if they are listening, which I highly doubt, but if they pick up, they pick up snippets from the community from here and there, and if they are listening, maybe some of it might get through, and they might start to understand. They might start to maybe temper some of their actions, or maybe go, "That's a good point." I mean, but we're not on the inside. This is what astounds me. It's what astounds me is like you surely you knew this was coming, and then Phil's. And I agree with Rand. I don't know if you saw Rand's clip. Jez posted Rand, Colt, Umbra, Biff. I don't know if you saw that, and he was just like, "We've been saying this for about a year.
Okay.
Phil just needs to shut up. Like,
yes,
shut up. Just
he really
stop
did say that on the show.
talking.
He told me on the phone that he was going to say this on his show, and I'm like, okay, I didn't know if he really would, but I guess he did.
Yeah, well, I mean,
he said that the rest of the leaders don't. Yeah, the leaders at other, brands do not speak out about their future plans as much as Phil does. And Phil says a lot of stuff, and Microsoft says, "No, I don't think we're going to do that anymore." And it really hurts as, we're all fans that dive into like the minutia of everything that goes on with video gaming. And when Phil says to Ryan McCaffrey, "Yeah, we're going to make a handheld of our own," like in his own words, like we pick that up immediately. And then we wait and we wait. And then you get the announcement, "Yeah, we're sidelining that." And it's been like that many, many times.
Yeah. And it's the unannounced, it's an unannouncement of something cool that everyone gets excited for. And then an unannouncement of a cancellation. Which is, and this is the thing. And it's a leaky boat, man, as well. Microsoft, they do have so many holes and leaks that come out of that corporation. But you could expect that with the size of, but it's an absolute bummer. From their messaging to their shift away from exclusives to, the multiple layoffs to the game cancellations. It's becoming extremely difficult as an Xbox fan and an Xbox creator, it's becoming extremely difficult to believe them. Like and so what's the point of a showcase, man? If you're showing games and we know at least one of these games, so you're like going to watch the showcase looking for that one game that's getting canceled. You're like, that's the one. That'll be the one getting canceled for sure. You know what I mean? Like it's a cynical way to look at it. But so I guess, Biff, do you feel like they're shifting towards the bigger games? They're moving away from the smaller games based on what they're saying, what we've heard from Phil and Matt.
Yeah, it sounds like they're going to be a lot less willing to take risks on small projects and games like that. They're going to end up just pumping out the same, Halo, Gears, Forza. We're going to go back to that. Just pumping out safe games like Sony does.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Sony's not even pumping out safe games. They're not even pumping out any games.
No,
that doesn't work because this is going to sound really dumb, but if Xbox does that, they're leaving behind the chance to make like the next Fortnite. Like, and I know that's one thing that PlayStation was chasing with the games as a service model. They're hoping to get lightning in a bottle with some game that kids and people play every night, and then they don't pick up anything else. That's all they need is that one game they play with their friends every night. And if they're like, "Oh, we want to be safe and just create these bigger games and these tried and true franchises," I don't want to look into a future where PlayStation and Xbox don't create the next new hot thing. I didn't even want the initiative to do Perfect Dark. I'm like, you got Daryl Gallagher, like make a whole new thing. Don't revive a super niche title like a franchise like Perfect Dark. That's what I was thinking back in the day, but I don't know. That's
I mean, it looked cool.
Not scared.
Yeah, I was excited for Perfect Dark.
Some useful information. Riskit will be back.
I was sad about Outriders too. I heard. I know that wasn't an Xbox game, but
yeah.
Well, that's it, sir. Microsoft has taken risks with new IPs, and it doesn't. Yeah, granted, Clockwork South of Midnight. They were all. Well, I don't know if Clockwork was a risk. It looks pretty fire, and it's a pretty fire studio in Exile. But
it looks like risky and looks awesome. Yeah,
they do take the risk, but it doesn't sound like that's what they're doing, or they're going to be doing going forward. Of course, they get a phone call. We do have to move on to the next topic. You guys can probably hear that through the mic. But before we do, please hit the like button, share us out. We go live at 8 p.m. EST, usually every Friday, but this one we skipped July 4th. Yeah, Big Mad Mode, there is still some risks, and we'll see what they do going forward. But it seems like they're going to focus on those big franchises, and I'm pretty disappointed in the cancellations of Zenimax is the one that doesn't make sense to me. And from the sounds of it, sounded really cool, and it sounded like one of those games where you could slip it into the live service realm, and it could have been that game. You know what I mean? Like ESO is huge, has been huge from day one. And I just also feel like Bethesda's taken an absolute beating since it's been acquired. And I think if you were to go back and ask, the Zenimax, the head of Zenimax walked out because of this decision. Like if you were to go back and ask the guys who made this decision to sell Bethesda on, would they make the same decision? No, I just don't think they would. I wouldn't make after the absolute beating that Bethesda and Zenimax has taken. It's coming under Xbox's umbrella. It's shit. It's really shit, man. And these are storage studios, and they should be getting it's a $1 trillion company. You know what I mean? They don't have infinite money to hand on, but surely they can double down on that one game, and Phil can push back. And it does seem like Phil just doesn't have control of the company anymore. And at that point, if that's my name, and I've never called for Phil's head or anything like that, but at that point, if it's me. And I've got no control, and I'm being made to look this way because it doesn't look good for Phil, I'm walking out. I'd be walking out too. And then I'd probably have a fair bit to say as soon as that NDA was up. We do need to move on to the next topic. But also, head down the description, click link 4XP. I don't have a little sheet planned out for 4XP, but it's our channel sponsor. There's a link in the description, 25% off. Absolutely fantastic products, by the way. I am loving them. My favorite at the moment, I think, is watermelon. It was the white
white gummy.
Yeah, white gummy, which is Gravewalker. I love the names, man, and the backstories that they got. If you check out the website, it's really, really cool. But it doesn't give you a crash. And I used to drink a bunch of energy drinks, and now I'm just drinking these, and I'm not crashing. So I'm not feeling really after I've jammed about 3 of them. So you're only supposed to have 2 a day, but I exceed that. But yeah, head down in the description, 25% off with that offer code, the Infinite. And I will have something done up in the next couple of weeks to put on the show, like a Piers Morgan sort of sizzle reel or something. I don't know. I'll figure it out. We got to jump to the next topic, which is a little bit more positive. Helldivers 2 is coming to Xbox. And Colt, I wanted to ask you this because I don't know have you played this? I sort of remember that you did play this and you weren't super keen. Is that what I remember?
Really didn't like it at all. Just didn't find any joy in it. So I played a dozen matches on Steam with Gaz, and then I played with Fonz and his brothers. And I don't know, I just thought it just did one thing. I just didn't really like it. So I might try it on Xbox with some other friends. I don't know. I usually don't say much about it because when there's a game that I don't like and other people really like it, I just stay quiet because let people like what they like. And if they're like, hey, why don't you like it? That's about as much as I could say. But this is an interesting thing. It is literally PlayStation's most successful game of the past 2 years outside of Spider-Man 2. It is their most, it's probably made them some of the most money recently. That is their most successful live service game. And I told people there was absolutely no reason for it to ever come to Xbox when the rumors were brewing up last year. I was like, why would they? There's no justification for it. And because it is actually here really makes me wonder what PlayStation plans to do in the future. And last thing I'll say is I don't think they're doing it because they're like, we don't have to compete with Xbox, so just go ahead and throw it on there anyway. If that was true, all of their games would be lined up to come to Xbox. They really want some of that Xbox live action of all those people who play like they do on PC. PC was 60+% of the players that were playing Helldivers 2. They want a chunk of that action because on Xbox, people get online and they play games like crazy. So Interesting
yeah,
turn of events.
I think there's a whole bunch of different like points of view you could look at. You could go like this game is perfect for Xbox, and I loved it. So like I the only thing I didn't love is Umbra kept running away all the time. I don't know if he's back yet, but like if you end up in a firefight and you're in the shit, like you turn around and you're looking for help, usually you just see Umbra's back. He's like just bolting off into the distance.
Yeah.
So he's not much help, but and then Blue used to kept running into my bullets all the time. So that was also frustrating, mostly for her, because she would die. It was all accidental, Blue, and you know it. Shout out to Holly, she's in the chat there. I think this game was great, so I loved it. There's a whole bunch of different perspectives you can look at this from. Really interesting, the timing too. 26th of August, that's when Gears of War Reloaded launches on PlayStation. So it seems like here's one for you, here's one for us. And I never thought this would come over. Like, it never entered my mind. I saw Nick doing the whole, they're in talks for it, and I'm like, I don't think they're in talks for it. Like, I'm not saying that Nick was making it up, and he obviously wasn't, but I couldn't believe that PlayStation would bring one of its second-party games to, and the ports being done by Nixus.
Well, second party, that's not even a thing. Helldivers 2 is 100% a first-party game. 100%. PlayStation's owned IP, published. No, it's not. From the definition of Phil and Hiroki Totoki and Sean Layden and Insomniac and Aaron Greenberg, PlayStation's first-party title, published by PlayStation, it is a first-party game. There's no argument about it. And it was first-party, and I mean, I willingly put it on my first-party list when I was comparing things. Now the PlayStation-only fans are telling me that it's a third-party game because it's on Xbox. They're dead wrong. This is a PlayStation game. And in fact, they took it off for some reason. But when the game was first out, you had the PlayStation Studios intro on Helldivers 2 on Steam. So much so, are you ready for this? People on Reddit and Steam forums were asking how to get rid of the Steam or the PlayStation intro because they didn't want to watch 8 seconds of an intro to get into their game and play it. Because the PC guys want to cut it out through mods or whatever. So they're asking how to get rid of it.
Yeah, you can't
so
skip it.
It is a first-party PlayStation game, 100%.
It comes on when I play the show, and I have to sit through the whole.
Yep.
It was funny the first time to see it pop up on my Xbox, but then I was over it.
I consider the way that I look at it is like there is second party. It does exist, I believe.
That's not a real thing. The industry has said second party is not a thing. There's no such thing as second person. There's no second party. There's either a third party game, like what would be a third party game? I suppose a third party game would be anything like Guardians of the Galaxy. A first party game is a game that is either their IP, their studio, or it's published by them, and it only has to be one of those. Or it can be both or all three. But usually it just has to be just one of them.
You're pretty set on this. But yes, the way I look at it is if it's...
risk it, wait. It gets even better. When Ninja Gaiden 4 was announced with the Xbox Global Publishing logo at the beginning, I said I can't wait to see this first-party game come out next year, and everyone dogpiled on me, and I said, hey, Aaron Greenberg, on Twitter in front of everyone, is this a first-party game? He goes, yes, it's by Xbox Global Publishing. It's published by us. It's a first-party title. And everyone went, oh, crap. It was a big, messy tweet, too, because everyone was like, oh, crap.
I remember it.
We were trying to call out Colt, and he was right.
I get it, but I've always viewed second party as if it's published by, but developed by. So if it's published by whoever it is, the first party, and it's developed by an outside studio, I've always considered that as a second party. But that's and
I tell people what I'll tell you. You totally can have your own personal opinion. Like you could say, I personally feel like a second party, and I'll say, okay, but just don't tell me that Helldivers is a second party title because we go by the industry definition. Marsh goes, Colt is set on this because I use the industry definitions. When I write videos and I put everything together to make a video, I try to have the relevant, proper information conveyed I make mistakes, plenty of mistakes, but this is a first-party game, and it is on Xbox.
You love it.
Yes.
He's loving it.
Love it.
It's
Love to
messy.
see it.
Revel in it, my
Messy.
brothers. Indeed.
Give them no quarter, Riskit. Say it with me. What does Helldivers do?
Second party.
Give them no quarter. Dope.
But I mean, and see, look, I can't backpedal on this either, because I was out there the entire time when they were hyping this up themselves. When it wasn't on Xbox, I'm like, this is not first party, this is second party. And
now you get to revel in being wrong in the best way possible.
It's beautiful.
But I mean, at the end of the day, like you would, it's first to second party, whether it exists or doesn't exist, you would never have thought. I just did not believe there was any way that the PlayStation would publish. Even when MLB came, I was like, yeah, it makes sense. They probably got forced. And but Helldivers 2, there's no force in them. Arrowhead does not have the power to force PlayStation to publish anything anywhere. This was a wholly Sony decision.
I saw a fairly well-known podcaster claiming that so Arrowhead had to say, like, are you this delusional where Sony owns it and they can force them to have them put it up? What, like stop it. Just admit to it what it is. Some of our brothers are acknowledging it and calling it what it is. But some of them are like, no, this is Sony. It's just the gas as a title, so they won't put real first single player. Like, they're looking for any out they can get. By the way, I heard some propaganda from Riskit concerning Helldivers 2. Those bullets that hit Holly and sometimes myself, he purposely aimed them at us. Also,
I did not.
That's probably why he would often see me running from him, but so to spare my life and not get shot. But yeah. Also, Riskit has his name is not just his name; it's how he plays. He's very risky. He jumps into situations with determinism. Like, you see all those monsters down there, right? Like, why are you jumping into the aliens and then calling a strike as you do it? So we all get hit by it. Like, we literally have been blown up by him multiple times. So I keep my.
I mean, if you're standing in the wrong place. And when I turn around, I didn't say I took my finger off the trigger. I just turn around, like, as I'm firing.
It's a bad
the bullets.
Terrible protocol to keep your finger on the trigger as you move around and look around. But yeah, he'll call out strikes. I remember one time I heard like the strike going off. I'm like, what is that noise? And I'm like, I'm fighting the Terminids, and I'm doing my best to collect these, the crystals, whatever it is. And I'm looking up, and all I see are like bombs dropping on my head. I'm like, who called that? And all my body limbs and stuff getting blown off and blown up. I'm like, who killed me? And sure enough, it just got quiet. I knew who did it. I'm like, it was Riskit.
It is a fun game. You definitely have to play it. But I'll jump to you. But look, here's my theory, actually. I will put my theory out here, because I said this like a while back, and I'm like, when you really think about what Xbox is doing with Steam, right? So gives PlayStation, it limits their options in regards to their games being available on Xbox. So can they can they cancel it? Can they block it? Yes, they could, and they would have to get Steam to agree to do that. So they would have to get Steam to agree to when it realizes that it's on an Xbox, they would have to get Steam to do that. So that may not happen. So that may not happen. It's very unlikely to happen, but it's there. It could, right? So there's an option for them to try to go down. It's also, there's a regulatory issue here as well. It may come back on them in a regulatory wise, because the CMA would probably not like that. I don't think the American, I can't remember the American one, the FTC. I don't think the FTC would get involved.
The FTC absolutely would not care. CMA could have been a problem previously, but the person that was over that, they've been removed. So they're going to acquiesce as well, honestly.
See, and then there's the European Union's regulatory. So there is that as well to consider, right? And so if that option comes off the table, which is very unlikely, I agree with you guys, very unlikely that's going to happen, then PlayStation's in a situation where their games are going to end up on Xbox. So then there's two other options here, is you can remove those games from Steam and just not publish on PC. Again, very, very unlikely. They've seen that money. It's easy money. We heard Yoshida say that. Right, cool. So what's the other thing you could do? And they could build their own PlayStation store and then pull their games from Steam and have a PlayStation launcher. That's a possibility, but that would be years
amazing
out.
For them.
Well, years
that'd be
out,
100% of their money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That would be a
yeah.
smart
Yeah.
move. Yeah.
It would be great, but then you also lose all those guys on Steam who just won't go to your launcher. So there's that too. So none of these options are ideal. So you backed PlayStation. Xbox is very much backed PlayStation into a corner. They don't want to upset their fans, like whether they speak or not, right? So, and we saw this with Death Stranding. I said this, and everyone was like, "Nah, that was." But PlayStation had to sign off on handing over that IP, and they would have known exactly what he was going to do with it. So they would have known it was going to go to Xbox, but it's a backhand way of like going, absolutely, we'll take money from you. What's his name? I always forget his name because I don't think he's that great. That's Kojima. Yeah. We'll take that money from you, Kojima, and then you can get that money from Xbox, right? So they sold for the IP. And then now we see, then there's MLB The Show. They're making money on that. They must have metrics on that. And now we're seeing Helldivers 2 come to Xbox, and you're going to be making more money in a deal, I think, with Xbox than you would be making with Steam. Steam's pretty stringent, whereas I feel like Xbox. Well, I know something, and I know that Xbox was more than helpful bringing this game to Xbox. So, and that PlayStation will make a pretty good cut from this game. So I feel like, and I'm not saying for sure, but I feel like maybe PlayStation might have already been slow walking to publishing its games on Xbox for quite some time, and we just haven't noticed because there's always been a reason for like, oh, that's because of the pub. Oh, that's because Kojima. Oh, that's because of this. Like, oh, that's because of that. But I feel like we're out of excuses with Helldivers. Like, and the excuse that I keep hearing is, oh, it's because it's live service. So what happens when the single player game gets published, if that happens? What happens if they publish a single player game? What's the next goalpost shift? I don't know, man. It feels, I never believed that this would be possible. And I had an inkling of it when it was Death Stranding 2, but now I'm fairly certain we've been like PlayStation is slow walking their fans into accepting not all games coming to Xbox, but some that they, or more than we believed that they would have.
Listen to this here, mate. The problem here is, why would Sony block you? Well, like, think about this for a second. Hey, fuck you.
He's been working on this. It is better, but it's not good.
It's my Jason Statham version. Yeah. Hear me out, mate. I see no reason.
Your Mike Tyson's better.
What do you think, Kobe? It's ridiculous. Now kiss. Listen, there is no chance whatsoever that Steam, Cole was already giving you the death signal, like, nah, cut it out. It's not happening. Steam is not acquiescing to Sony, like, oh, let's take it off these Windows-based platforms, which is on everything. Like, that's not happening. And I think people were wishfully thinking. I actually have an ongoing bet with one of my Hoover brothers who are like, all right, it is, who bet me on it literally. And I'm like, boy, you in for some pain, because, like, why would they? We've had this talk. I was talking with Kay Asante, and I just come to the conclusion, like, for one, not only would Steam not care, Valve is in a power position, so they don't care. They're not going to acquiesce to you. They'll just take your entire everything you have off their platform. It doesn't hurt them. Two, Sony is getting 70% of all of that. So if somebody is for an Xbox, they're saying, hey, I'm going to go around this and buy the game and be able to play it on my Xbox, the next gen Xbox, or handheld, the Xbox ROG Ally X. Why would they step in when there's more money coming their way anyway? It's not a loss to them, right? People can say, well, it's not on their platform. Yeah, but that's why they're putting it on PC. That's not their platform either, but it's more money for them. There's literally no incentive for them not to do it, right? Outside, then that's a fanboy wish. Well, they won't do it because, and I've already seen some who said this was my last day at playing PlayStation games. Yes, because Helldivers is coming over. So I already know, like, the more vocal, toxic ones are going to say that, but the casuals don't care. They're going to get it wherever. This doesn't faze them one bit. Also, I just want to give a shout out to my good brother Boom, who called Helldivers coming over to Xbox way back. Like, I know some people like, I was a lucky guess. That's a very particular guess right there. And he said it was happening and it would happen soon. give the man his flowers, even if you like, it was a guess, whatever. His guess was great. Hell, I want him to guess me some lotto numbers if he can guess that well. So, but no, I feel like the only question I would have, again, comes down to the seeming need for these black hole games. That's the problem I have, and I'm fearful. Well, Sony seems to have learned their lesson, to be fair. I think they're going to be very particular in what they focus on for live service. I think they're going to go back to the drawing board of giving their gamers what they want. And we all know that's first person over the shoulder, third person over the shoulder action adventure types. Like, we know that's what they want. So I think Sony will go back to that. I think Microsoft has learned the opposite lesson. Sadly, I feel like they're going to push more live service elements and microtransaction based type thing. I feel like that's what they're going to do. I hope that I'm wrong there, but I feel like Satya and those above, Amy Hood in particular, are looking at the bottom line more and more, and it's being forced on Xbox proper for it. So I feel like the move they're making, some of it's going to be very beneficial. Some of it, I think they're going to learn the wrong lessons from it. And because of these things happening here, it might not be what we exactly want either. It seems like that's been the case a lot lately since the ABK situation, in my honest opinion. There's been a lot of, oh, that's cool. And then there's like, oh, but this also terrible thing that you have to accept as well. So I don't know.
I feel like Amy Hood should cut her salary in half, and we could save like 5,000 of these people. I mean, she's taking home 25 million. Yeah, I mean, Satya's taken home 78 million. In 2024, took home $78 million. Like, that is insanity.
For the year?
Right? For the year in 2024.
You know what's
that much?
You know what's more insane? Did you all see that guy? And I got love for him. I don't watch him, but the boy is athletic as hell. I Show Speed. Did you all see the contract he got with Twitch? $248 million for 2 years. 24 something million just for signing with Twitch.
Damn. I would sign and then leave. I would take that 24 million go.
That is generational money right there. Like,
I'll be streaming from my yacht.
I swear.
But listen, here's the other thing: is this whole Xbox is dead. And Xbox gamers don't buy games, and PlayStation has got the metrics. They've got a couple of games on Xbox already. MLB The Show must be doing okay. They must think that this is worth it. And I know that there's a deal sweetener for this particular deal, which I did say on another show in the chat, but I'm not going to say it live here because I don't want that smoke. I don't want that coming down on me. But I will say 100% there is a sweetening in the deal here. So it just goes to show you that if the PlayStation's fans believe that Xbox is dead every other week, seems like PlayStation proper itself does not think that Xbox is dead. Otherwise, what would be the point of publishing on a dead platform? They must have some faith in this console. If the PlayStation fans don't already. Biff, do you feel like Xbox is dead?
No, I don't think Xbox is dead. Maybe PlayStation's dying if they're moving their games over, but
right? Is it a slow walk? Do you think there's a slow walk to first party? Do you think we're going to see like? I don't personally think we're going to see the Spider-Mans, the God of Wars, but I mean, you're talking about a 7-year-old game, right? Spider-Man 1. It's a 7-year-old game. They've extracted all the value they can from that on their own platform and now on Steam. If they want to extract some more value from that game, is it possible that they could bring it to Xbox?
No, it's a no-brainer. I think if they put it on Xbox, it would sell millions of copies. Absolutely. And as far as the next Xbox goes and pulling their games off of Steam, why would they do that? Like Umbra said, they just sit back and do nothing. That's free money. And if they build their own launcher, it's going to be on Windows. We could just download it on the new Xbox and play the games anyway. What's the point of pulling it off of Steam? No one's going to, download. Who most people hate the Epic Game Store. I only know like 3 people that actually use it.
It's true.
Myself included. I like the Epic Game Store. I think it's easier to use than Steam, but still.
No, you're right. It's true. Like most, for whatever reason, Steam seems to have us in a chokehold. Honestly,
Yeah. And I played both the Spider-Man games when I first got my PC last year. I got Spider-Man and Miles Morales on sale on Epic for $60 for both games,
Well,
and I
well,
played them both, and I loved it.
I play
I
a
want
lot
to
on
be clear
PC,
though.
and
I don't think that Steam would ever go into a deal for blocking PlayStation games.
No, I'm pretty
All I'm
sure it goes
saying
against the terms of service.
is that hardware wise and technically wise, it can be done. So I have to put it in there as an option. Otherwise, these guys are going to come after me. They come after me anyway. But I put it in there as an option. They just don't have that many good options, and they are backed into a corner. That's what it feels like to me. They're like, you know what? We're backed into a corner. We can get a better deal on Xbox than we can. If Stevie Miller, I love that. Stevie Miller band's amazing. Sorry, Cole. Cole, you were going to say? Love Stevie Miller.
yeah, Keep on Rocking Me, Baby. It's one of my favorite songs. The thing about I play a lot on PC.
I'm surprised you didn't sing it, Cole. You could have killed.
It's so good. Well, Umbra and I are going to go do some karaoke after this.
Yes,
the thing about PC, like you talk about Epic Game Store or Steam, the one thing Xbox is going to do that will, you can already do it right now on PC, on Xbox PC app, is having access to all of your games on one library. Like people have, they like the Steam storefront or Epic Game storefront for different reasons, but if the Xbox PC app and the Xbox console app, just all your games are right there and you can look at them and launch them, like that's huge. Like people pick and choose and say you have a grip on, like Steam has a grip on us because we probably buy most of our games there if we're on PC. So you most likely, the majority of your games are on Steam. And so when you open up Steam, majority of your games are right there, and then you can manually add them. Right now, Xbox just adds Steam games. You don't have to add them. They just show up. And so Xbox could have a good stranglehold on gamers for their benefit on the next console and on PC, where they just open up the Xbox app and all of the games they own are available right there to select from and push A to launch. And I could do that right now. Like I launched Stellar Blade from the Xbox app because I got in the Insider program just last week. So you shouldn't have to pick and choose. And maybe Xbox will do that right. And if they allow you to do that on the next console, like you're playing your PC games on your Xbox console, it'd be amazing. I don't know how that'll work, but I don't know.
As long as you can play your Xbox games, right? That's the thing.
Well, that would be the first. That'll be the first. Yeah, that'll be the first requisite that'll be met, is that it'll play all your Xbox games. But now you have access to your Steam library. You can see it, and you can launch it, and you can play it there. I don't think Xbox can. Xbox can't leave the gaming business. They can't just say we're not going to make a console this generation, because they'd leave behind at least 20 million people that are like, what? I'm like, right now, I am like a Series console owner. You know, they have a bunch of people on Xbox One, but, you know, realistically, they probably have almost 40 million Xbox Series owners with, 20 million of those are probably super diehard hardcores. They can't just leave them. There's even so much that I would even say they're going to allow you to have an expensive way to play your disc-based games. They'll have some kind of setup for that. So, oh man, it's so frustrating because Xbox has all this good stuff they're doing, all these great games. They're making more games than anybody. And they're jacking the price of the games. They hiked the price of consoles to a laughable, disgusting amount. And Satya Nadella has that tweet from June 8th where he's like, we're looking forward to the 25-year anniversary and we're all in gaming, or whatever he said. Now everybody's like, what are you? And the comments are ruthless to Satya Nadella because they see right through it. They know that he's not really, he's just kind of like half-cocked there, like, yeah, I mean, I guess we have to.
Do you know the worst thing about this whole the news? I mean, Xbox keeps stepping on Rex is the worst thing. There's one good thing. They're the master of shit sandwiches, right? They're like, here's a terrible thing. Here's a good thing. Here's a terrible thing. Here's a good thing. And they just can't seem to get that body of evidence. Like,
it's an open-faced sandwich, right, Riskit? Because you have the bread and then you have the crap and then there's no bread afterwards, You're left with the crap. And then you have to wait a month until launch a game, and I'll play devil's advocate because we've been dogpiling on Xbox a lot and they deserve it. But I said it earlier, if they had a game coming out like in a couple days or in a week, people would be like, oh, this is why we're here. And it's hard to keep perspective because we're here for the games most of all, and we don't want to be mourning the jobs of developers. We want them to be there so they can make more games. And now, if there was like, what's the next game? The Grounded 2 is in early access, but Outer Worlds 2 is coming out, Ninja Gaiden 4. Like, those are kind of far away when you're sitting right now in the thunderstorm of Xbox's ridiculous rakes that they've been stepping on. And it frustrates me. So
yeah, the bigger thing for me is like we got so much promise and potential right for next gen, and I feel like I'm hoping because I expect fully to be some more layoffs. Right, they're doing what they feel they need to do to clear space for the AI investment they're doing. They already have 80 billion invested into that with these layoffs. I feel like that's going to grow more and more. You look at what they have already with Copilot and such are already worth just about as much as, if not more, right now as the Xbox division. They're going to try to keep investing in that, and I feel like we're going to see more of this. I am confident that we'll have next gen consoles coming directly from Microsoft proper. After that, I don't know. Yeah. After that, I don't know. But at the same time, I don't care so long as you can get and play everything that's yours on Xbox. To me, that matters less of who makes it, provided it's a well-made machine and you can play everything that's yours on it. And to me, the shell of who made it is irrelevant. But
can I ask you? Ask the other guys too. Ask Biff and Riskit real quick, just a yes or no. Like, would you be bothered if there was a console out that was made by Razer or Asus and Xbox like did all the approval process and it played all your games? Because I talked to somebody who was like, "I'll just go to PC." Does that bother you too?
Yeah, well, you guys want to? Because for me, it doesn't bother me one bit. I'm perfectly fine with it.
No, I'm okay with that too.
I mean,
at that point, it'd be like
I'll never
PC
go
anyway.
I'll never go to PC.
Never say never.
Even if that
you're not gonna have a choice.
Never happened. I chose my handheld.
That thing is
this isn't going to happen, Riskit. This isn't going to happen. The next console is going to be made in-house, first party by Xbox. It's going to be an Xbox console, just like you would expect it to be. But
yeah,
pretend that doesn't happen. Let's say that in 2026 or 2027, they're like, our new console is made by Asus and Razer, and Digital Foundry's like, the Asus one's probably the best one. Would you be mad that was your only choice, or would you go PC? How would you feel about that?
No. That's still a console to me. If they're making it's a bespoke hardware from Asus, and maybe it's Windows based, which is why I feel like, I think we know. Well, look at the cuts. There was no cuts from the hardware team. You know what I mean? J-Ron's still rocking, just quietly doing his thing. And so I feel like Xbox is dead set on that, and to lay the foundation for that next third party sort of console step. So they do this whole Windows machine. They've rechanged around Windows, how it operates on the system. It runs PC games. It runs this. Here's your operating system, Asus. This is what we want you to run with, right? When you build our console, here's your operating system, Razer. So in essence, the Xbox machine is a virtual machine that sits within a plastic box, with an API, but it would just be a CPU and a GPU. It's no different. An API is different to a GPU, CPU. Just they work together in a more bespoke way, but in essence, the same thing. And so, to me, it would still be the console, right? It's not a PC. I would never touch a PC. Blech.
Yeah. Well,
I treat my PC like an Xbox. It's or like a console. It's just really, really nice. But
that's how
I won't try and convince you.
You have yours.
I only use a controller. Right? I won't use a mouse and keyboard because I save that for TurboTax and write Word documents.
Cannot play a mouse and keyboard.
I also don't subscribe to the PCMR. I hate it when people say PC Master Race. I just have access to way more games, and
it feels like you're free, right?
And better graphics,
kind of. But I mean,
yeah.
Sometimes I get better settings, but I mean,
better
Series
performance.
X and the PS5 Pro are like, I don't know. I don't care what anybody says. They're phenomenal machines. The games look absolutely incredible. And as a guy who has a really nice PC, I don't let PC guys tell me, oh, it's such a massive difference when you look at all the pixels. How could you not? I'm like, no, come on now. For $500 or $800 on what you get, like it's pretty amazing. And yeah, I don't let
What they
people
give
say
us
that.
on console, I agree with you. Like even Hellblade, for instance, look magnificent on Xbox still.
I
However,
did.
I will tell you,
Uh,
I'm sorry.
Here we go again.
I'm sorry, Risky. Booting that thing up on PC, because that's what pushed me into it, Cold. I
Which
wanted
one?
Hellblade 2.
Hellblade.
That was the first thing that like
Oh.
I'm like, okay, I gotta move to PC. If you remember Risky, that was the one for me, like, yep, can't be on console for this. And I have not regretted it.
30
one bit.
frames.
Listen, that 30 frames, I was like, nope, not doing that. 60 frames, near 4K at the times, because that game is demanding as far as how visually beautiful it is. But also, if you put on, all the good stuff, the fake frames as they call it, I can do that too. I don't care. I have
don't
no
either.
problem with it because it still looks like 4K. Who cares, right? Only the real super PCMRs are gonna be like, no, it's not really native. I don't care. It looks like
If you have a really nice TV, it makes up the difference.
It
Freaking
does.
games look phenomenal on console and PC. I don't care.
Absolutely. And I have an
Yeah.
OLED. I have an LG OLED. It looks magnificent. When I saw how great that game looked,
I don't have a button that goes for long enough.
I know some people were like trying to, Decima.
Risk it. We're talking about how great console is as well. I mean,
Yeah, I'm
come on, give us a break.
I'm bigging up Hellblade 2 here. People kind of put Decima, and a shout out to Seawolf in the chat. I see you out there. Decima and Death Stranding 2. Hellblade 2 is still the best looking game out this gen. There is no argument.
Decima.
I've seen them, and
Decima
I've seen
is a much better engine. Better engine.
That's blasphemy. Unreal.
I don't know. I don't subscribe to the engine thing. I don't think the engine makes it. The Rage engine or whatever they use on Red Dead 2. I don't know how phenomenal that is. It's just those people.
Yeah.
The people that make that game just make it absolutely brilliantly. They work hard. The attention to detail. Naughty Dog does the same thing on their engine. It's not the engine. It's the people. Everything matters. The way the interaction and the way everything comes together and the way they trick lighting to make it look. It's all magic of
I agree
talent.
that if you have enough talent, it can kind of overcome some things. But if you look at certain things, if you play Unreal games, and I can tell, like if you show me Unreal, I can tell you because of not just the tangibles of like moving around or the things that these other developers do when it comes to interacting with other people in a game or NPCs. I'm talking about the landscapes. You look at the landscapes, you look at the lighting and all this other types of stuff. The only engine I've seen, and Decima is great, the only engine I've seen, oddly enough, that has come close to ungluing me from this seat of Unreal dominance has been the Anvil engine powering Assassin's Creed Shadows. That is a magnificent engine.
Snowdrop is absolutely gorgeous. I don't really know. Digital Foundry talks about the engines, but sometimes I just think, man, sometimes those studios just really know how to make stuff look great. Because I've seen stuff that I was like, is this a Unity? And Unity typically will look kind of quirky and like, no, it's Unreal Engine 5. And I'm like, oh, it's because they kind of went for a different art style. But I don't know all the technical stuff. But
yeah,
that's what makes me mad when we lose so many developers, because you get all these people together and they create just gorgeous stuff.
Literally magic, man. That's that, and I agree.
We're still
with you.
talking
Like, so much talent. No, we
still talking PC.
We moved on now. Just we're speaking in general. Like so much talent has been lost, and this goes back to the firing or whatever you want to call it of these good folks. Is we losing out so much potential future things that they could have created for us. Now they're going to move into different facets of technology, likely, and move away from gaming. Like imagine the games we've lost because of the people we've lost that we won't ever get now. That's the saddest, one of the saddest parts of it.
I hope we see some new studios pop up. Some of these people get together and do something.
I hope so too.
I've got to read out one of these super chats because it was relevant to Umbra's singing and his accent, and then now the PC talk.
Oh, they must have loved it.
Says,
yeah.
Bark Hugh says,
mute him already.
Mute him, please.
You don't mean that, Farkey. Stop it, brother. Stop it.
Oh, gee.
Oi. You don't mean that,
Terrible.
Farkey.
Terrible. And Never Nude drops a dropped a $20 super chat and said, "Can't just come in here chatting nonsense without giving a little back."
that's nice.
Yeah, I mean, that's nice. That's nice.
Shout out to David
Spartan661 as well gave another 5 memberships. So shout out to you. Really appreciate all those 5 memberships. God, if we could stop talking about PC for 5 minutes, that'd be fantastic. I mean, look, do you feel like, I just want to get this from you, Umbra, because do you feel like this is a slow walk towards, do you think we're going to get Spider-Man? Do you think we're going to get these single player experiences, or do you think it's like the new games coming ahead?
Yeah, we are. We're going to get all of that. Next gen, you'll have access to all of it.
That's true.
Whether they do it, they
You're
get
not
it
wrong.
willingly or not, we're going to get it. Like this is the thing. This is why I'm so excited for next gen for everyone. Me, I'm likely not getting the main hardware. I'll get the handheld, right? But I have a PC. I don't need it. I'm not trying to gloat on that. I don't have a need.
Do the music again.
Yeah. But I am very excited.
I've got a PC. I don't need
it. It's like, and I feel like I'm going to eventually upgrade it, probably to the 60 series, 70, something, eventually.
Pardon me, Umbra, can you pass me the Grey Poupon?
Indeed. I have you good, yes. Quiet. But I say all this to say I am extremely excited for everybody that's on Xbox. Like everybody in the chat, I'm hyped as hell for you. You all should be hyped. In my honest opinion, despite all the negativity going on this past week, in general for next gen, I think everybody should be excited because you will get access to everything. That's what we wanted. Like, let's be real. We wanted access to these things, and the complaints were always about us missing out, feeling like second-class citizens because the games were skipping Xbox. Well, now you no longer have to worry about that because, Gray, PC has paved the way, my good brother. And now that they've opened that kernel of PC truth into the Xbox with the next gen.
Oh, my God.
You too shall bask in its glory. Yes. Yeah. See yes, we will also bask in the greatness of your PlayStation formerly games.
That's my point, right? So you've got PlayStation the biggest garlic put it is there's literally PlayStation PC LLC. So they're a publisher now. It looks like they might be planning more ports for Xbox, but not only for Xbox, but possibly for Nintendo. And are they getting ahead of this? Because they are backed into a corner. Like you're losing your cut. Right? You're losing your cut to Steam. So you would be better off to just publish directly to the platform and get your cut straight from Xbox. Doesn't that make sense, right? I mean, if you know.
Yeah. Look at Nixus, by the way. I don't think that's a coincidence that Nixus just went out there like, hey, Helldivers is going over. Nixus is going to be involved in this too. They're going to be bringing these games over for sure. Maybe Sony, this is them getting ahead of it. But again, it won't matter because you all will get them anyway.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Nixus published it.
You're going to get it anyway.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm sorry. I'm jubilant. I'm feeling excited for you all because you all will get everything. I'm feeling jubilation.
I'm feeling really good for you console people down there. It's going to be exciting for you.
How you doing, little fella?
Even my proper PC left. You guys will get everything. I'm glad for you.
Hey, you console guys at the back. I'm happy for you.
Me first, but you will get it. Enjoy.
Look, I do want to move on to the next topic, because there's one more topic that I wanted to talk about. It's near and dear to the heart of definitely me and Umbra. It's a game that we love, and we got a little bit of information about it. Right, do please hit the like button, share us out. We go live 8 p.m. EST every Friday, unless it's a Saturday, or we don't. And please head down to the description and check out 4XP. Absolutely fantastic gaming drinks. There's no crash, zero caffeine, all natural sugars, absolutely fantastic flavors. You can tell I'm on it now because I'm super hyped for the next topic. Halo, Umbra. We heard some news. We're going to get some news in October. They're going to be showing us what they've got next. That'll be on your famed and favorite Unreal Engine 5.
Yes,
what are you hoping to see? what are you hoping to see on this one? Are you hoping to see? I feel like it might be an RTS, but what are you hoping to see?
I feel like something as monumental to gaming as Halo deserves. Great voices like myself and Colt singing the hymns of its theme with the join with us, Biff.
Can't make it stop. Trying to make it stop, but it's not working.
Listen, I am very excited. Listen, I don't know how much I can express my excitement that they moved to Unreal. You've heard me. It's funny because I think I wished this into existence. I was the one saying this. Bring it to Unreal, was I not? I was the one saying it, and people were like, "Oh, it can't move to Unreal because the Blam engine won't work with it, and they have to do it.
It won't feel like Halo.
It won't be like Halo. It won't feel the same." Well, you're gonna feel something. I don't know if you're gonna like it or not, but it's happening.
I think we all said it.
That's a saying that's been said many times.
Yeah.
I think you and
might
Pete
feel some discomfort.
You and Pete were also saying this is like it's time to do something with this engine. It's held together with duct tape and string in the background, barely holding together. And what they did with it was a miracle. I mean, when you've got 500 contractors, you can do anything when you fire them. Anyway, sorry, Umbra, keep going.
No, that's right. It can even work through, some people would say I'm unfair and don't give the smoke to Unreal. It might, these talented devs will, and of course they have the coalition there to help them, teammates and such to jump in. They're going to have this thing on running on all cylinders. None of that stutter that people love to try to throw Unreal's way. It's going to be a well-oiled machine. Now, them letting some people go could have possibly affected it, whatever. To be fair, I did see some people from the team expressing concern over that. But if so long as they're not getting rid of more key people from them, anyway, so long as they get away from that and allow them to develop let me just say this too. Part of the problem and a worry too, and I hate to keep jumping back to it, is because I feel like morale is being killed left and right? Like, how can you create something great when you worry that you may be next? So I hope that the things that's going on doesn't, bleed into that. And I hope that they, can offer some job security when it comes to these things. That said, I am very excited. They'll be showing at the, like you said, at the esports soon, something to reveal about it at least. So I'm excited to see it, though I don't expect them to show too much. That right there, we can be fully looking to next year to get what we're going to get. And trust me, I'm trying my best to make sure I get out there to LA next year. So
I mean, they could use these layoffs as a motivational tool. One of my bosses used to use being fired as a motivational tool. Like every meeting we had, if you fellas don't like it or you've got any bloody complaints, there's plenty of jobs pushing trolleys down at Coles.
Who did you work
there's
for?
The door.
Pluto? Is
you
that
can walk through it.
Who did you work for? Is that Pluto?
No, that's mining underground. That's underground mining. You don't like it, mate? There's plenty of jobs at Woolworths. You can go push trolleys for $20 an hour.
Did he give you
while you're on my mine site? You'll do as I tell you.
Did he forbid like cans of tuna of spinach being eaten at the job too? Because it sounds
no smiling. All right, I don't want to see any joy down there. That's why you do your job in the most unhappy way you can.
Yeah. He sounds like he's about to sail the 7 seas or something. I don't know.
Yeah, like Special Nick came up with a really good point, but I'll also caveat it with this: is that one employee that came out and spoke about Halo, saying it was a chaotic. He also said it was a really good project and place to work at. From memory, I could be wrong about that. So. His thing was like maybe he's a disgruntled employee. They've performance managed him out, you know what I mean? And they finally got rid of someone who's a bad employee, and that could just be the thing, right? So there is that too. It could just be one disgruntled employee that has some stuff to say. But for me, it also is a little. I think we've got PTSD from Infinite, right? Because when they launched that game, fantastic game, love the game. The open world probably could have used a little bit more filling up, right? I think that, but it still was a good. Yeah. It was a good campaign. It wasn't great, but it was a good campaign.
I enjoyed it.
But they didn't have that content ready to go, ready to rock and roll. So I've got PTSD from that, and I'm like, are they still in that whole spinning their wheels thing? Is this ready to show? Are they crunching to get this done. And look, crunch happens in absolutely every single thing. I've been crunching for the last 2 months to get my project like up and running. So, look, I'm not fully against or supportive of, but I'm hoping that this time they've learnt the lessons. They're ready to go when they're ready to go. And I'm also hoping that Microsoft gives them the room to make the game, as well as the oversight to steer them in the right direction. Because if we get another showing in October where they've got to go back to the drawing board because it's, we didn't bother to watch the trailer before we launched it. Oh, damn. No one's happy with that. We get another Craig.
I don't think
right?
they'll allow that to happen again. I don't see that happening again. I don't see it. Also, too, they got Pierre there. I think the ship is going to be sailed right this time, personally. At least I hope.
I'm hoping. Colt, are you super hyped? What do you think they're going to do? Where do you think it's going?
I hope it's not Halo Wars, just because that's not for me. But and Halo Wars 2 didn't do very well. It's hard for me to get super excited about Halo. I think they'd really have to do something like a Gears E-Day type thing to get Halo back and get people excited again. It needs to go back to its roots, or it needs to kind of be revitalized back. What made it, the foundation that made it great. So it needs to be mature, needs to be a little bit scary, needs to be very bold. And I don't know. I kind of wish that Halo Studios was turned into a different name, and not like they could do something besides just Halo. And Microsoft and Xbox are like, Halo's an important franchise for us, and it's a lucrative thing, and it's made them lots of money over 25 years, but they have to ask themselves, what does Halo mean to Gen Y or Gen Z gamers? Not a lot. I don't know. I don't think a lot of people who are in their 30s or early 20s were really hyped about Halo Infinite or fell in love with it. Maybe they did. That's my worry. But I do like their Heinz. I think he's awesome. What's that?
That studio would have been a great name. Would have been The Flood. If they changed their name to The Flood, and then started bringing out like games, you get like there's a riff there somewhere. But CE that Mo said, I was just thinking, what's a great way to do that is to go back to CE and do that remake that we hear is happening. Biff, how do you feel about Halo? You are a huge Halo fan. What are you hoping to see? I personally like Halo Wars, and I like 2, so I would be happy with an RTS, a remake of CE, or a brand new. Like anything they bring to me, as long as they do it right, I'm happy. I'm happy to see. What are you looking for, Biff?
Well, I'm not the biggest Halo fan. I dabble. I think I've played all of the Halos. I don't think I've beaten any of them.
Sacrilege!
Yeah. Sacrilege! I know.
Heretic!
Turning your Xbox card is over for you.
No, it's never really been my game. I'm more of a Battlefield guy when it comes to first-person shooters. But, I had heard something a while back that their next game was going to be like a survival horror game. Maybe that's what's coming, but I think it's really going to be, hey, it's coming to PlayStation. Here's the remake of 1. I think that's what's coming out. That's
what I think's coming too. And here's one more thing. It comes to PlayStation in the spring. Yep. Jeff Keighley up there with a big cheesy smile. Can't get off the lift here because he doesn't have a pass. Oh, Jeff.
We don't talk about Jeff anymore.
We don't talk about Jeff. No more Jeff. We love Jeff. Jeff's amazing. He's such a nice guy. When I met him, he was so accommodating and so lovely. I really appreciated when he said, he asked me how long this was going to take.
You're talking about Pro Xbox, Jeff? Oh, man, he's the
Pro
best.
Xbox, Jeff. Yeah. Jeff loves Xbox, all the time. Like, especially
bountiful love from him like that.
So does Chris String. Chris String loves Xbox as well.
He has this.
He's a great
one
dude.
eye on a Sparrow and one on Xbox. It's beautiful to have such a focused and unfocused love from Christopher Dring. How he
and unbiased coverage. I like that. Like he gives the smoke where it's necessary. Doesn't hype it up. It's no hyperbole, and he does the same with PlayStation. It's great to see.
Did you see that he had a very backhanded? Did you guys already cover it before I got here?
No, we didn't cover
a very backhanded compliment about Helldivers coming to Xbox, and someone goes, Nerd Propellant who's a friend of the community, he said, "Well, I thought Xbox is dead, right, Chris?" And he goes, "Well, who said that?" And he goes, "You did yesterday in your article."
That was
And
funny.
he was like, "Well, I mean, that's different." I was like, "Oh, sucks."
It was so good.
That was
It
funny.
was so good.
Yeah.
That is probably the top gotcha of the year, of at least maybe the century, but at least the year. Yeah, I love that. That gave me a giggle. I think everyone in the community loved that. It's good to see Chris not just making a fool of himself, other people making a fool of him.
He also had
look, there's
one
one.
where somebody blotted out the other parts where he didn't have to put in there, and it just said, "Nice move to get Helldivers 2 on Xbox." And black then blotted out, and then it just says, "It's a hyper relevant audience for an online shooter like Helldivers. Should give the game a nice little boost." Got rid of the other parts, and they said this is what a non-biased person would look like if they wrote it. So yeah, people's done it.
Well, I saw an article
wanna-
today saying, "Oh, Helldivers 2 isn't coming to Xbox, so nobody on Xbox is going to buy it because Xbox players don't buy games."
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I think they will. See, I'm going to buy it again because there's no it's unfortunate. I want a cross progression, and there is cross play, but I don't want to be playing like outside of a party on my PlayStation. So I'm going to buy it again, and I'll be playing it on Xbox. And I cannot wait. And I want to support the game. I want to support more PlayStation games coming to Xbox, and I highly recommend everyone goes out and pre-orders Helldivers right now. It's only $40. I'm even going to get it for Monad. I'll buy it for everyone. Everyone in the chat, you've got a free cut. No, I'm kidding.
Riskit Winfrey here. Yeah, you get a copy. You get a copy.
You get a copy. You get a look under your seat. You get a copy.
Right. I own it on both PlayStation and on PC. It was gifted to me on PC. I think I might just buy it for Xbox. I just may. Just to reward them and also jump in with. I don't have to because it is crossplay.
I might get Helldivers on Xbox just so I could say, "Hey, I like it now," and really piss off PlayStation only fans. Because
you best be prepared.
They think that's what I did with Death Stranding, but I'd already played Death Stranding on PC and really liked it, but didn't stick with it because it came out in the summer and I was playing Grounded with my kids, so I just never went back to it. But finished it on Xbox. I'm glad I did.
Nice.
I always liked it. Yeah, I always liked it.
Are you excited for Grounded 2, by the way? I'm actually.
I am. Yeah, we're really excited. My 2 kids and I have 3 kids, but 2 of them we've played the first one for like 400 plus hours, and loved every second of it.
Nice.
So
I was surprised that people don't coming out already. When the trailer came out, I thought it was DLC.
Yeah, that was surprising.
We played for a little bit, but I spent most of my time looking at Umbra's back. So
yeah, no, you're not going to catch me. No, the spiders.
My time trying to warn you not to go out there, and you all would not listen to me. I told you my black sense was kicking in. I'm like, no, something ain't right. It's like, I'm like, it's like spider sense, Colt. I took you better.
Oh, dude, I played for so long, and I still screamed really loud, like the woman I am. I will scream.
I still remember that clip of you when you were playing Resident Evil that was shit.
I love that.
That's why I cannot play those terrible, like scary games. I won't do it. I'm sorry, I won't. I already know.
I love them.
I don't. Nope, no horror games.
Yeah,
I love them. I'm like middle of
years, and I still freak out when I see the spiders.
See?
I love it.
I do.
I love it.
And those spiders looked horrible.
I love horror games, spider games, like anything like that. I've got no issue. The only one is that I've struggled a little bit with was Resident 2, the remake. Resident Evil 2, the remake. Because I was playing it at night and it was getting a little bit jump scary. So I was like, I'll play this during the day. I'll play it during the day. There's one more thing I want to round the show out with because we're just tipping over the 2-hour point, and I want to get everyone out of here, and I appreciate everyone coming in and supporting Colt and Biff. But this last thing, I don't know if you guys saw this. This came up just last night while I was sort of putting together the topics, and a lot of people got fired at Xbox and Microsoft, but there are some people that are definitely gunning for a promotion. Absolutely no doubt. I want to read this out. So this is an employee of a still current employee, Matt Turnbull, the executive producer at Xbox Game Studios Publishing, and this was what he posted on Blue Sky. These are some really challenging times, and if you're never getting a layoff or even quietly preparing for one, you're not alone, and you don't have to go it alone. I know these types of tools engender strong feelings in people, but I'd be remiss not to try to offer the best advice I can under the circumstances. I've been experimenting with ways to use LLM and AI tools like ChatGPT and Copilot promote me. to help reduce the emotional cognitive load that comes with job loss. Here are some prompt ideas and use cases that might help if you're feeling overwhelmed. Career planning prompts, resume and LinkedIn help prompts,
Wow.
networking and outreach prompts, emotional clarity and confidence. I'm struggling with imposter syndrome after being laid off. Can you help me reframe this experience in a way that reminds me of what I'm good at? What the actual fuck? Who let this guy post this on
What
fucking
in
Tesla?
God's name?
How did that not get
Bro.
deleted?
He eventually
Bro.
deleted it. He eventually deleted it. But why in
Oh, he
the
did?
world would you think to post that? What could have
I-
possessed him to think, yeah,
Here,
this is
reach
it?
out to the computers that are going to be replacing all your jobs.
Right.
Play the computer sound again, that computer voice.
AI took my job. How can I use AI to feel better? Oh my God. Help me reframe how I feel, AI.
I, for one, welcome our AI overlords. Let this AI
Welcome
help
to
you find
PC
a new
Master
job.
Race.
Welcome.
I think you like promote this man. Promote him immediately. Satya, we have a winner.
Like,
Lord Satya.
oh my
praise
gosh.
Remember, when the machines rise up, ATMs will lead the charge.
Honestly,
Yeah, for sure.
I couldn't, I was reading that and I could not believe that someone took the time to write that, didn't proofread. Like, I don't know how you this
Totally
tone
tone
deaf
deaf.
to get,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Wonder if he wrote it with
absolutely
AI.
nuts. Best intentions, worst actions. I got to say, some of the worst things on the planet have been done with the best intentions, and that's probably one of them. Next to the nuclear bomb.
It's like tantamount to saying, I'm sorry you're crying that you lost your job. Here, take some of my paychecks and wipe your tears. It'll, I'm still here. It's or take some of my money. Take some of my money and wipe your tears away, but make sure you give it back.
Here,
jerk.
I'm sorry. Your parents were like, if you like, were taken out and murdered by this guy. But here are some images of him with his family. They might warm your heart. Like, what is going on?
He's really a good guy. Or what
And
about
then
if he's like, I mean, I know you're struggling for money, and then he like lights a cigarette with $100 bill.
Yeah.
I hope you guys are going to be just fine.
and blows it into your face. Also, too, by the way,
unbelievable.
because it was asked, Magnum said, was he being sarcastic? If he was being sarcastic, Magnum, that's even worse.
That's way worse.
It's tone deaf all the way around. It's no way to get around it. And he still is gainfully employed, too, to do that. It's just like, yeah, no way to get around it for him. What else, Special Nick?
What else, Special Nick? Yeah, 4th of July yesterday, and I wasn't going to go live, mate, but there was way too much to talk about today. We had to give Xbox the smoke and talk about how important exclusivity is, and it should never be. Anyway, we'll tell you. And how bad Collingwood was. I've never seen a game so bad than the one they played against us. They almost lost to the bottom team, so I don't know. I'd be worried if I was Nick supporting that team. Anyway, look, we've got to move on to the end of the show. Absolutely fantastic. Moving on to another topic that we don't have. Absolutely fantastic.
You should have used
Cole,
AI
thank
to
you,
fill
Biff.
in one more for you. It was probably.
Yeah, definitely.
We're finishing the show now.
Thank you, Cole. Thank you, Biff, for coming through, guys. You're absolutely amazing. And the chat, you guys have been absolutely fantastic. Thanks for coming through and supporting us. We actually ended up with 220 people in here, which has been the biggest for a little while. So I appreciate every single one of you that came through on Kick, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube to support the show. Please click the like button and the subscribe button if you haven't already. Umbra, let the people know where, what, when, how, where, what you're up to and stuff and things. Live and salutations.
Salutations, everyone. Yeah, man. Thank you all for being here with us and holding us down. This is off day for us usually. It seems like we got bigger numbers though, so maybe this a sign of things to come. Risk, no, but yeah, man. Thank you all for coming through, and thank you especially to our guests from Biff to Colt. Okay, I don't have to keep shouting, but thank you both for coming through, man. You all saved the day. We appreciate you guys. It was just going to be me and Riskit shooting the breeze, and I don't know if everybody wanted to hear just us because I would have just been singing and he would have been trying to mute me. It wouldn't have worked. But
That's true.
yeah, so thank you all for the chat, and thank you too for coming through for us. For as far as where to find me, Infinite Umbra or Umbra Infinite, you'll find me either way on social media, which is of course just Twitter and Blue Sky. And of course, on Tuesdays, Xbox Factor, boom, myself and Jamie Moran. That's at 12 Eastern. My show, The Fix, with Daniel, to say his proper name, Daniel J. McGee. That's on Thursdays at 8 o'clock Eastern. And typically here back again with us on the Infinite Podcast on Fridays at 8 o'clock Eastern. So come by and subscribe if you haven't. Actually, I'll post a link from my channel. Close to 2,000 actually, and you know what's even worse, or be it better? I shouldn't say worse. That's a stupid choice of words. But what's even better is we're encroaching on 100 episodes, y'all. I think we have 91 episodes. Yeah, we're at 91 right now. So I got to try to reach out to a few people, including Colt and Biff and everybody else to come through for the 100th. Colt, you were the first guest on the Fix. You know that, right?
He was after Redfall.
You were the first guest. You graced
was it really after Redfall?
Yeah, it was right after Redfall, and it just happened to fall right in that week. So we want to give you a special thanks for that. Blue Number, I see you there in the chat. Maybe you might finally decide to grace us. I know we're not, good enough for you at times, but hopefully one day you might deem it necessary to come by and spend some time
and say hi,
and Danny. Yeah, and say hi. That's all.
And say salutations. Biff, let the people know where your salutations are, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter, Biff Rinaldi, Xbox, Biff Rinaldi. I'm on YouTube here, Biff Rinaldi. I am going to start streaming again. I took a break for a little while, but I'm going to get back into it for July. I think I'm going to start streaming Expedition 33. You could also find me on Twitch, Biff Rinaldi. So wherever you want to go, I'm trying to get into, about 25 subscribers is my next goal. I just saw the other day I was at double digits, which was pretty cool.
It is cool when you start hitting double digits and stuff like that. And
that was big for me. That made me happy. So,
and look, everyone does start
digits soon. So
everyone starts with 0 digits. Like everybody starts with 0 digits. Like the biggest content creator starts with 0 digits. So yeah, keep pushing, man.
And I want to play. I want to play Expedition 33. I've been trying to wait until I was done with Shadows, but it's Ubisoft, so it's a lot of game, and I work a lot, so I don't have a lot of time to play.
It's a lot of game. Yeah,
I figured I'd just stream it so I could get to play it.
I don't know when I'll get back to Shadows, but it'll be a while. But Colt, you need no introduction. But please let the people know where they can find you and all that good stuff.
You can find me at Colt Eastwood on YouTube and Twitter. And I don't know when my next video will be, but my mom's been in town and she hasn't let me do anything other than pay attention to her. So it's been great. Trying to be the best son I could possibly be.
It's good win. It's good win, family visit.
I'll be there in a minute. I'm just kidding.
God damn it.
Come on,
Where's
Mom.
my sandwich, Mom?
I'm talking to the guys.
Trying to hang out.
Yeah, you can find me. You can find me in all the usual places. Head down in the description below. Check out the links for all of our guests, all of our panel members. Holly and Donte will be back with us next week. And don't forget to check out 4XP Gaming. Absolutely fantastic drinks. You can tell I drink a lot of them because I talk so fast. And that's I reckon that's about it. We'll see you all next week. Thanks for coming through, guys. You guys in the chat are absolutely amazing. Salutations.